Apologize, I was detained at work, so we're starting a few minutes late. I want to make a note that all of our commissioners are present. And let's see, Pledge of Allegiance this is Commissioner Beckmeister. Reminder to all of us, if we're coming to speak, we need to turn on the microphone, you out there as well, as us up here, because we are being taped. Do we have any public comments? Oh, wait, there's a question over there. Oh, we do.
I have one public comment from Jim Gardner.
As I was just nicely reminded. The public comments that we're talking about right now in our agenda are not relating to anything that is on the agenda. So if you have public comments in regards to, in regards to agenda items, we will get to those at the right spot. So, Dr. Gardner is up, and I believe you know the drill of the 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Gardner. I live in Lake Forest. I want to talk on the Village Pond Park workshop. Thank you very much for having a workshop. That's a good thing to do. And but that was just about maybe the worst workshop I've ever been to that I can remember. There was no advance. We had nothing in advance. And that's because there was nothing in advance really to say. The guy did no preparation. What's the problem with Village Pond Park? The water, right? The water guy's not there. What's the problem with Village Pond Park? The ducks. There's no vet there. What exactly is he doing for his $30,000? And he keeps dwelling on suppose we had no lake. How many times do the people have to say, we want the lake? Don't take this as a harangue at you guys. It's certainly not a harangue at you. I'm just expressing the frustration and some of you were there, so you know what I'm speaking. So, let's tune this guy up and get him earning. He's not a volunteer. He's earning $30,000 for this project. And the people want the lake, and they want it kept the way it is, and they don't want outdoor weddings, and they don't want, it's like a Monty Python skit or something, having an outdoor wedding. Let's get on with it and do the job. Thank you for paying attention to it. Thank you for getting this guy, but let's do the work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else at this time?
I have no more public comments.
Thank you very much. And I believe we have no presentations at this time, according to our agenda. Now we're on to the consent calendar. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Are there any changes or additions that need to be made?
No. Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Well, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was great. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. I have a comedian next to me. Anyway, we're on to discussion action items. Off-leash dog park feasibility study, meeting number 7.
We will. Chair Herron, at the August meeting, the Parks and Recreation Commission discussed 3 potential sites, Darren, Pittsford, and Vintage Park. And at that time, you felt that we got a consensus of the commissioners that they felt that Darren Park had the most potential. So what we did is we notified the residents that lived around that park and invited them to the meeting tonight to tell us what their ideas are. So what I would suggest we do is we take public input, then bring it back to the commission for discussion.
Now now's your chance if you want to talk about the dog park, or the off-leash dog park feasibility study. So now we will have public comments on that. I guess she's got a handful.
Our first one is Jim Gardner, followed by Carol Eichner, Fleischer. That's enough?
All right, do you want to go later at the end? You're good. Oh, well, thank you. So Dr. Gardner gave up his...
Okay, so Carol Fleischer, followed by Chris Young.
All right, so... Yes, please.
I was going to be okay.
Oh, sorry. And I do want to advise you, I believe that button is already on, correct?
I don't know. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so you have, everybody has a chance to speak for 3 minutes. That's all you're going to see these little lights come on. You'll have them there. Obviously, green, go, yellow, ooh, getting close to that 3 minutes. Red, I'm glad you're done.
Pick me up.
Well, I'm nice, but, you know, we do have to follow the rules.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My
Oh,
name
you're
is Carol Fleischer. I live in Cedar Glen. My concern with the dog park at Darren Park is several. Number one is this is a residential area. Dog parks should not be in a residential area. If you look at the surrounding cities, all the dog parks are backing up to commercial. If you go to Irvine, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach, any of those, they're not backing up to residents, especially surrounded on 3 sides by residents. Noise will be an issue. That's a given. One of my main concerns with this is going to be parking. There are 20 parking spaces at Darren Park that will be utilized by not only dog park personnel people, but also those people bringing their children to the park. I went to Laguna Niguel, they have 30 spaces. I went to Irvine, they have 34, plus a ton of street parking. What's going to happen is these people are going to come up Cherry, which is a very small street. It's going to increase the traffic. They're going to come into our community, use our parking lot. We're going to end up towing them, and then we're going to have problems with them coming back and vandalizing because their cars have been towed. We worked with the city last year in our community to get some of the parking off of Cherry, opened up some parking spaces in our community. I would hate to think that we did that for nothing. My other concerns are that property values are going to be impacted. Noise, smell, traffic, parking. People that move into our community move in there partly because they're happy that there's a park for our children. It's a large park. I understand that. It's utilized by the kids on the playground equipment, basketball courts, a open space, or what you consider open space. It has trails and trees and places on the side next to El Toro. Kids ride their bikes, people walk, they walk their dogs. It's a nice open area. I've lived there for 31 years. I remember it was dirt. So I really appreciate that park, and I appreciate what you guys have done to keep it nice. I want it to stay that way. I know that in the past you have talked about a more central location for a dog park, maybe the sports park or something a little more central. I'm not against a dog park. Oh, no, okay. I'm not against a dog park. I do not think it belongs in a residential area. We don't have facilities on our property for children. They go up there all the time to use that park. Dogs walking to and from a dog park, even half of that park, have to walk directly through the area where the children are playing. That is a huge issue. You know, little kids are afraid of dogs. I work for the city of Irvine. I know what happens at dog parks. We get calls periodically, it's not a huge issue, but periodically, of people that can't get along, and they get in fights out there, and the police are called. Please come down Cherry Avenue with the parking issue, they're going to have nowhere to park. So, obviously, I'm against that park at Darren Park. I think it's a big mistake, and I don't think a dog park should be in any residential area. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to comment that we can't respond. Okay, all right. You're looking, I'm like, okay.
No.
We can smile, but we can't respond while you're, okay.
I'm on HOA board, so I do the same thing. I know.
All right, okay, thank you very much.
Smiler.
Well, no, that's good. I am too. But I just wanted to remind everybody that we can't comment at this point. Anyway, thank you. Next.
Thank you for having this meeting. She covered most of the items that I have, and I'll be right up front. I'm a dog owner. I've always been a dog owner. I'm sorry? Chris Young? And being a dog owner, I know a lot of the issues. And when I first I got my dog that I currently have, I started going to Irvine Park. And what I saw was basically they never were able to maintain the nice park we have now, the grass was always dead. Owners don't pick up their feces, so the park becomes just a big, basically toilet area. Many people who have no idea of what their dog is like bring dogs to the park. One person I remember brought a dog with a muzzle on it and thought that was a good idea. The other concerns I have are the same ones that were mentioned already, and that is that, there's a ton of kids playing in that park, and every dog that goes to that dog park, no matter where you put it in there, is going to have to pass by all those kids playing. One dog gets loose on a leash, and it's the wrong kind of dog, which people bring to the dog parks. The other thing she pointed out is correct too. All the other dog parks that I know of are never near a residential area, and especially not in the center of 3 different residential areas. I'm actually in Aliso Park Estates, which is a little bit further away from the park, but I think it'd be a really bad idea. I think they would run out of spaces parking, because there's no other place to park there as far as street parking, because the actual people who live there use the street parking that's available. But there is usually right next to the park where the parking is, up from there, which is belongs to their complex, and people will park there because it's a lot of times those spots are empty because they're the furthest away from the home, so they're going to assume that's the parking that they're going to be able to use. I probably don't need the whole 3 minutes. That's about all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Larry Wasserman, followed by Hussein Dan Eshmond, followed by Julie Mindola.
Hi, my name is Larry Wasserman, and I'm not going to go and reiterate what's already been stated and the obvious association with children, but I would like to bring up the issue of the fact that there are 10 picnic tables there, 4 under a gazebo. There are 6 to 8 permanent grill stands for grilling food, and a lot of people take their parties out in the park, picnics out in the park. So you've got families and kids and food, and now you want to add potentially unsocialized, untrained dogs to the mix. It doesn't make sense. The other thing I want to bring up is park hours and what the hours would be like if a dog park was built in the park. It's going to have to be open in the evening. Street lights are on sensors. The park lights in Darren Park are on timers. Ever since the lights have gone into Darren Park, every single year I've had to call and request that the timers be reset, because this time of year, when it starts getting dark earlier in the parks, the lights come on way too late. Those are the 2 things that I wanted to bring up, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am Mr. Daneshmand, and what is the suggestion? This is my speech. I think the best place that you can, because you have a lot of governmental lands all over in Lake Forest, because I am a citizen of the resident of the Lake Forest and El Toro about 34 years ago up to now. Very nice place, very good reputation, very clean. But if you need a park for the dog, this is my suggestion, that you have the government lands, the corner of the channels for the flood, and some steps or wood, because of at that time the flies smell, no resident, no commercial, and everybody can go over there. Like Laguna Beach. If you go to Laguna Beach, they have a park for the dog. Just one corner is the a road for the Laguna Beach. The other side goes to big steps. This is my suggestion. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Julie Mendiola. I think it's my turn. I just want to say that I'm also here against the dog park with my ladies. We live here in Cedar Glen. I've been in Cedar Glen 25 years. I moved to Cedar Glen as a single mother with 2 daughters, and we moved there specifically for this park. It, of course, was much prettier. That was about 30 years ago, that picture is. If anyone wants to know it, our park is beautiful. Everything that Carol and everyone else has said, we're all agreeing on that. Just walking those dogs through the children area, I hope you understand, you have to walk through the children area, through the basketball area to get to the other side, because there's no parking on El Toro Road, so it's not like they can come down El Toro Road. And we feel it'd be very dangerous for the kids. There's a lot of kids that don't like dogs. I'm a dog lover. I have a dog, but we go to Laguna Beach, or we go to the nice little park on the other side of Ridge Route. Again, that's not in a residential area. It's in a commercial. Have you been to that one? Ridge Route on the other side of the freeway? That little time. Laguna Hills? Well, I've been to that one, but also Laguna itself. There's 2 different ones, but, they're not in residential, and this just is not a good idea to have this park in residential area. Thank you.
Okay, next I have C.J. Brower, James Covey, and Patrice Salute.
Good evening, Madam. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is C.J. Brower. I'm coming with a little bit different viewpoint, I think, than some of my neighbors. While I agree with them, I've got a different perspective. I'm on the Planning Commission, so I know firsthand what you guys have to deal with, and I also know firsthand how big a deal it is to the city to deal with parking concerns. Our association, as was mentioned by Carol, was already asked. I'm in Cedar Glen, right next door to the park. We were already asked and worked willingly with the city to reduce our overflow parking on Cherry, and if we put this dog park in, all we're going to do is take that space that we created and fill it right back up with people who don't even live in the neighborhood necessarily. And so I don't think that that's a good use of the property. I don't think that's a good use of the goodwill created between the city and our association. Secondarily, I understand that we've got our hands tied to a certain extent as a city, and you as a Parks and Rec Commission, I understand the concern of not wanting to do this in a residential neighborhood, but that's where our parks are. They were built as human parks. They were built near neighborhoods. That's where the land is, that we have for this purpose. I get that. That said, I think there's 2 suggestions that I would make. One, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but there's some validity to it. Look at the Duck Pond Park. We're trying to reduce the overabundance of the geese and the aggressiveness of the geese. Put some dogs in the corner. People walk through there with their dogs to get to the dog park, and the geese will move, I guarantee it. They'll find a new place to hang out, all on their own. That said, I think the other potential might be, it's a little more central, up on Dimension, the nature park. There's a portion of that when you first go in that's off to the side. You can still have easy access back to where the gazebo and everything is for non-dog owners, but there's a big grassy area right there around the corner from the entrance where you could put dogs as well. And is some sort of partition so that the dogs can be off leash without getting up by the gazebo. I think it's functional, and it is further away from the residential. And I will stop there. Everything else has been addressed. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is James Covey. I live over in Hillsford, over in the condos over there. And yeah, just everybody's already covered about what I was going to say. about the negative influence the dog park would have in our community there. Parking, odor, potential for dogs harming children around the area. And I just want to reiterate that, and that's about all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Patrice Sickett. I also live in Hillsford. My backyard backs right up to the park, actually. My view from upstairs is the park. I've lived there for 25 years, and to see a dog park go in when I look out my bedroom window is not something that I'm looking forward to. I think that there are many issues that have already been mentioned. The property value, I definitely think, would go down. I think that the sound, barking dogs will set off other barking dogs who aren't even at the, dog park. I think that, if somebody's walking their dog late in the evening, that's going to disturb the neighbors, kids, family time, things like that. The parking is also a huge issue. We already have issues in Hillsford with parking. It's very limited. And we get people who want to park there already just to use the park. To add one more feature to the park that is going to attract more people is just going to make it very difficult for us in parking. And, there is only a limited amount. Even on the street, there's only a limited amount. Other than that, to say that a dog park belongs in a residential, I think is ridiculous. Majority of dog parks that I've gone to, I am a dog owner, are not in residential for good reason. So I hope you take all that into consideration. Thank
you. Okay, next on the list is Ann Krinsky, Kimberly Jamison, and Jim Gardner if he wants to.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity. My name's Ann Krinsky. I live in the neighborhood immediately surrounding the park, Aliso Park. First of all, I'm just very grateful that the city is considering a dog park. I think it's a desperate need for the people in Lake Forest. I've also been to the surrounding official dog parks, and like as the other homeowner said, that they're not in residential areas. I don't know why they would have picked Darren Park, of all places. It is, I don't know, there must be so many other more public parks located in more commercial areas. So I'm just saying that I agree with what the other people in the that live in that neighborhood have said, but I do hope they will consider and won't stop and will consider another location, because we need a dog park in Lake Forest desperately, just not in Darren Park. So thank you.
My name is Kimberly Jamison, and we're new to the area. My fiance and I just bought our first home on Hillsford Place, and our backyard also opens up to the park. And that's one of the reasons we bought our place, was because it's beautiful. We like looking out there. We're a dog owner too. We like to walk our dog in the area. But as everyone else has said, we have the same concerns, and a dog park should not be in a residential area. We've been to many dog parks, and they're all in commercial areas, not in residential areas. There's noise issues. There's, has any environmental studies been done? Who's going to deal with the irrigation, waste? Who's going to control the hours? Who's going to control the people that are using the park? And I think everyone has covered most of the concerns I had, but dog parks cause pollution, and right now I know the container that holds the bags for people to pick up dog poop is not full all the time. When we walk, who's going to keep that full? It's always empty down there. So it's just going to make it worse, and we already have a huge parking issue, and it's all going to be much worse if this dog park goes in. So we are completely against the dog park going at Darren Park. Thank you.
That concludes our public speakers.
So we're good, right? No one else that came in late wanted to speak on this? Oh, there's a hand in the back. Would you, why don't you come on up, and then we'll have you give us your 3 minutes, and then you need to fill out the card and turn. Oh, she's got it. Oh, she's good. All right, you know the drill now. Thank you.
I just wanted to second what the person before the last person said, that I really hope a dog park goes in anywhere, but even if it was Darren Park, I would even be for that. But I do believe the parking's an issue, and everybody has valid statements. But also, any park that does go in, anywhere the dog park goes in, I can guarantee you there'd be lots of people volunteering to take care of all the issues that people have concerns about: waste, smell, all that. And I really don't think that children in the dog thing is much of an issue, especially if you come in and you just take this side, you're not really actually going through where the children are playing. And also, a lot of people are already letting their dogs off the leash in that area, and this would give a place where people can have their dogs off the leash, and therefore would probably not have them off the leash outside of that area, and that would actually be safer for the children. But yeah, if there's a different place, that'd be great. This place still, I'd be okay with it. Kate Brotherton.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jim Gardner. Good evening again. Let's take some of the comments that they're making. You know, my first choice was Borrego, and I couldn't believe that some of you didn't like Borrego. Borrego is the perfect place. And let's see what the people are talking about, and let's see if you can take those same criticisms against Borrego. Dog parks should not be in a residential area. Borrego's not a residential area. Parking problems. Borrego not only has its own parking, but it's got that extra side library parking up there. They talked about the dangerousness because of the big long walk from there. Borrego, the walk from the parking, it's almost right there if you built the park along the side of Borrego. Property values not impacted. There are no property values impacted at Borrego. So, you know, I believed all along Borrego was a better choice. I'd like you to, and in view of, I agree with, you know, virtually all their concerns. I also agree with everyone. I'm a dog owner, that we need a dog park, and so many people are saying, you know, what are their valid concerns, but I don't think those work. I think Borrego, you don't have any of those problems at all with Borrego. So I'd like you to take a second look at Borrego and consider that as an option for dog park. Okay, Borrego, for those of you who don't know, is that park that's right at the top of Foothill and where the library is, and it overlooks the valley, etc. And the area I'm thinking of for the park would be between the field. There's a path all around the field, and it's the space between the path and the hillside. And those are hundreds and hundreds of feet that goes out, and then in a big L you could have a small dog park on one side, a large dog park on the other side. So if you decide not to use Darren, and they've certainly made good reasons for you not to use Darren, I'd like you to reconsider Borrego. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight and making your thoughts known. We do appreciate that. Mr. McGow, So we need to have,
Bring it back to the
check.
commission for discussion.
all right. Any commissioner want to start tonight, or should I pick? I guess I'll pick. I think that didn't, okay. How about, thank you, Jeff.
Sure, thanks for that, Loretta. That's great. And you know, this is I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight, because I have to tell you, for me personally, the park I liked the best was Pittsford, but I also like Darren, and the reason I like Darren is somebody I work with lives over in your neighborhood, and I won't say her name so she gets in trouble, but she kept telling me that every night there's about 20 dogs out there, and they all they go off leash there, and so I've gone over there on several occasions, and in fact in the back part of the park, folks are doing it already. So to me it seemed like a logical choice. I'm completely surprised at the opposition, to be perfectly honest, because I think it's apparently maybe it's a homeowners association. Maybe we need to work with them, because I have 4 kids. I have a lot of dogs, but I have concern about dogs being off leash in an unconfined area, and I think it's an accident waiting to happen. So it seemed like to me it was a good opportunity to put our first dog park at Darren and kind of help the safety issue. With that being said, I think all these points are very valid. The parking I know is an issue, and we did all go to different dog parks. There are a few that are in neighborhoods, and so we weren't. I guess that's something that I can appreciate where you're coming from. We knew in the beginning location was going to be the toughest part. That was one of our criteria. Just so everyone knows, we've gone through every park in the city, and we wanted to keep it a certain distance from home, so where we would put the parks, or the dog park. I guess we have to go back to the commission. I mean, I support what you guys are saying, and I would definitely be in favor if we wanted to look at Borrego again. The only issue I know with Borrego Park is it's used for soccer, and as, I don't know if you guys know, but sports fields are a commodity certainly, and it's hard to come by. So I appreciate all the comments. I really have to kind of digest this, and I'd like to hear what the other commissioners have to say. But I thank you for coming out. This was really insightful for me. So thank you very much.
Do you want to go next, Jim? Jim wants to go next.
We'll do the bookend thing first tonight. Is this side of the room the dog park and this side the garden, community gardens? Is that kind of how it's divided, or just kind of wondering, because some of the comments maybe I should save till after item 4 has been done. But no, first of all, to both sides, thank you for coming. It obviously shows that there is an interest in this issue. Seemingly, I think the comments tonight were 9.5 negative and 1.5 maybe positive when we're considering Darren. I guess I'm the guy all of the opponents of Darren should shoot the missiles at, because when we were in phase 2 of this study, I suddenly brought up the fact that, we never looked at Darren because it's kind of tucked away and hidden. It had a fair amount of flat acreage. Again, our initial proposal with Darren was not to take the entire facility, but use that area from El Toro until you kind of get down to where the basketball courts is, and leave everything else intact from a standpoint of having a multi-purpose facility, which is different than most dog parks in Orange County. They're just a dog park. But here you could have a controlled area for off-leash, as well as all of the issues and programming activity that you could use the other part of the park, the barbecues, the picnics, the kids' playground, et cetera, so the entire family could go take the dog into the park, kids could play, whatever, make it kind of a family outing. I totally agree with what I'm hearing on the parking issue. Compared to other facilities, the 24 spaces that exist at Darren Park are the top of the list. Bigger than what exists at Borrego. I'm going to make a brief comment to Borrego. We, in the initial aspects of doing this as a commission, we're all in agreement that we were not going to take facilities where there was existing programming. We all know we need a dog park. We we hear you. It's a need for the city and a demand from our residents. Borrego has other programming. The issue of the library parking has, for 20 years, that I can remember, 15, whenever that library was built, has been an issue of everybody parking where the library is, and the library patrons can't park there, and now we're displaced, et cetera, et cetera. So, but again, going back to the sports field commodity, we're getting a sports park, yes, but that doesn't mean that we can give up everything, because we don't service adults at all in this city. We basically service youth, just about the capacity, but we don't have any recreation facilities for adults, which might be a nice thing to have as well. So maybe we can, again, disregard that. In looking and listening to the comments, and I'm a dog owner as well, but I understand the idea, and the phrase is NIMBY, not in my backyard, and I understand that, and I fully support it. It's always kind of easier to have it somewhere else, okay? 7 sessions, which is the equivalent of almost a half a year, has already gone into this project and trying to come up with a solution. I listen to what I hear from the population. Our job is to hopefully well represent the wishes of our residents. And while I know that what I've heard tonight and some of the things I've read are not necessarily positive, I can understand it, because you're all residents of the most impacted neighborhoods to the facility. I kind of would have liked to, and I heard it from a couple speakers, and I appreciated that, the fact that they realized we needed a facility. They were hoping it wouldn't be there, as opposed to saying, don't put it there, we'll, get the militia out, or something to that effect. I have visited most of the facilities in Orange County. Yes, to a great extent, they are in non-residential neighborhoods. The issue, the problem, to some extent, is the city of Lake Forest, just does not have that many facilities to address the gentleman who spoke earlier of a plethora of other activities, or other properties to consider. We just aren't in that boat. The other key element that we need to consider in trying to satisfy the needs of our city is something called money. Money is not just sitting there. This project, the community gardens, some of the other things that are on our plate and the plate of our city council are basically, quote, unfunded. There is no money right now for that. So what does that mean? That means if we want to do something quickly, and quickly may mean a year, or it may mean 18 months, as opposed to 3 years to 5 year. All of this is in the 5-year plan now. But I'm sure nobody in this room wants to necessarily wait 5 years to have either an off-leash facility or a community gardens, hopefully. I think that would be something that everybody could agree on. Hearing what you're saying, maybe we need to look a little bit deeper, a little bit further. One of the thoughts that came to me, and again, I was one of the, and am still, based on some of the issues, still a big proponent of using Darren, and I'll be open and say that, but within the last 24 hours, just seeing both of these things on the agenda, there was another thought that I would like to throw out for my colleagues as well as the folks here, and that's no guarantee that can be done quicker or less expensive or whatever. That's a decision that will be made in the end by others. But we have the gentleman said, one piece of property that might suffice, and that is the property called Whispering Hills. It's located on Lake Forest Boulevard, up close to the mention where the Starbucks is, and then there's that open, flat area that has been proposed for a dog facility, a arena soccer facility, a community garden site. It seems, again, because that's pretty much the only other thing we have beyond one piece of property that would be huge cost to even think of developing it, and that would be like a 5-year down the road, if ever. And maybe, there's a compromise that maybe it's something that can wind up as a potential, I will use that word potential, home for both a off-leash facility and a community garden. So I've kind of stolen some of the thunder before we get to item 4. But I'm kind of throwing that, out to my colleagues for consideration. Maybe it'll mean we need another 30 days to really vet that out. But I just want to say I'm sensitive to your remarks. I appreciate your coming. I think the commission is of the type that we want to satisfy our residents and their needs overall. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for your comments. We had advance copies of the comments, and we certainly, all of us, speaking for the group, have reviewed your comments. We're not as naive to think that there will be comments, because that's one of the purposes of reaching out to the community, because we want your input to help guide us. As an advisory body to the City Council, it's our responsibility to do our due diligence with the city staff, and that's the process that we're working our way through. We certainly don't have all the answers. We're coming up with some type of judgment calls. When we first started this process, we developed some criteria in terms of what will be workable within the existing park structure, rather than getting involved with creating a new infrastructure for a specific dog park. There was discussion whether or not we wanted dog zones or segmented portions set aside. So we've agreed that if we're going to do this, we want to do it right and with the community support. We certainly understand, at least I do, I'm using the word we, but I, as a dog owner, 3 dogs, but the fact remains we want to do what's right for the community. When we originally started this process, we looked at all the parks, and all of us have visited the parks to eyeball exactly what we're looking at. I certainly have been to Darren, because I'm only about half a mile from Darren. I live on the other side of El Toro towards Lake Forest Drive. But one of the attractive features that we liked was that there is a buffer zone between the homes and the site, so at least there's opportunity to segment approximately a little over 3-acre park into a regulated portion of the park that is already being used by dogs, that's unregulated. And a lot of the comments that you have made is reflective of the fact that there's no rules, regulations that I'm aware of, or any kind of structure in place to help make the dog experience a positive one at the present time at Darren Park. So continually my observations have, and the number of dogs that come through the park certainly is a challenge as it stands today. If we are to make this a positive experience for the community, and that's one of the purposes of our charter, is to review with the city staff of coming up with suggestions of how we can address all your concerns, because they're very clear tonight, and to make sure that whatever is decided upon will address these concerns, because if they don't, then we got to push back and take a second look, a third look, which we're continually doing in our process. The fact that struck me when I'm on record and looking at Darren Park as an opportunity was the fact that it is already existing as a quasi-dog park as it stands today. But we don't call it that. But people do take their dogs to many parks, and unfortunately it has a negative impact given the fact that it's not in a regulated area. But Having said that, it doesn't mean that we are a decision-making body tonight, because our purpose is to get all the input and reevaluate exactly where we are, to take the public comments seriously, as we always do in the position that we have, to make sure that whatever our recommendation to the City Council is well thought through, because we are a caring group. I mean, we obviously want to do what's right for the community. The origination of the dog park discussion has happened many, many months ago, even before I was appointed to the board, and that was one of our priorities. So we take this responsibility very seriously. We certainly don't have all the answers, but we feel confident that there might be, and this is the point that I want to emphasize for everyone here, a coexistent way of addressing what we're hearing and what we've seen and written for your concerns, and see if we can make this a win-win situation, because there's no perfect, unfortunately, site out there. Nor do we want to encumber the city of Lake Forest with additional costs and the cost in developing raw land from the ground up, because I personally don't feel that's necessary. I think we have existing parks that have opportunities, and Darren, although it certainly is an excellent pocket park in a beautiful area, I think that we can come up with some recommendations and solutions, so the next time we visit with the public, once we see some schematics of what we're doing, I do believe strongly that we can address your comments to a satisfactory compromise, because we do ask that there's a give and take here. And the fact remains that it can be a very positive effect on the community long term. Thank you.
I can't come up with nearly the eloquent statements that both of these gentlemen prior to me did.
I'll be third after.
I'm always after them, and I always sound like, okay.
Okay, all right, next
No,
time.
I'm pretty short and sweet to my points. I mean, I do appreciate everybody coming. The one thing that I've been on this commission for close to 100 years, and the one thing that we do better than any of the, whether it's the planning commission or the city council, is listen to our folks that come to our meetings and take the time and effort out of their day to be a part of it. And I do greatly appreciate you guys coming and being a part of this and saying what you say. It is as everybody said before me, we're trying to come up with a solution and come up with a fairly quick solution. We are looking at potentially bigger solutions down the road as well too, that we could create something that we'd be proud of, kind of as we're doing with the sports park right now. We're building something that is going to be unique and one of a kind. It's kind of the reason I got onto the commission 20 years ago, was to build a sports park. It's taken a little bit longer than we had hoped, but we're building a diamond. We're building a gem, and it's something that we as a commission has talked about too, and as well in regards to potentially a dog park or a garden as well. So we're looking at many different things, and we're trying to do something that we can, where we could accommodate the need quickly and economically as well too. So, but I want to appreciate for everybody for being here. You brought a few things to my attention that maybe we didn't think about before. I do think Darren creates a lot of positives that it could work and not have the impact on some of the programs that we currently have in our sites. But I do appreciate all of your comments, and I think it's going to give us a little bit more to think about. So, thank you.
All right, we have heard excellent comments from our commissioners, and I commend them for them. As you've heard, we really do listen. We're sensitive to your needs and your suggestions. It's a hard job up here. You know, I think all of us have visited every single park, not only here in Lake Forest, Dana Point, Laguna Hills, Laguna Beach. You know, here's my points of the pictures of the Dana Point dog areas that they have, because we want to do it right, and we want to be sensitive to everybody. Darren Park has some good points, and I understand the bad points. I personally was not thinking that whole big grass area. I was thinking more to the side. But, you know, we will be hiring an expert, or don't, you said, I'm going to turn over to Gary for a minute, please, to explain what.
Based upon what your recommendation is, if you were to choose to proceed with putting a dog park at Darren, we'd make a recommendation to City Council. We're not going to design a dog park at this point. All we
Right.
do is make recommendations. So we'd make a recommendation to City Council if you wanted to put a dog park there, and then it would be referred to City Council. If they decided that they thought it was a good idea, then we'd have to have a budget and hire an architect. And
Right, and move forward.
Yes.
All right, so I'm putting it out there. I actually liked the area near Kavanaugh Park, that long green area near the freeway, but it wasn't picked. And so I'm not sure. I'm a lot to think about. You've really given us a lot to ponder, so thank you for that. And let's see, Gary, next, you want us to.
I'd like you to make a recommendation, if you could, to either proceed or table or whatever you'd like to do. We have a lot of people here who've made a lot of effort to come out, and I think they would like to see what your, you know.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I maybe suggest that, at least for the moment, maybe not till the end of the meeting, that we table it, listen to, item 4, and then maybe our joint or recommendation on both items could dovetail together, or we could separate them? Would that be appropriate, maybe?
All right, I'm fine to table it for right now. I'll probably need a motion. I'll need a motion, or no?
Oh, we could just, the motion would be to just to table
Table it, and it's going to discussion. Item 4.
unless you have
Are we
a,
all in consensus? I believe Jim is suggesting that we table our discussion right now for the dog park feasibility study, and we go on to hear item number 4, which would be the community garden. We're just tabling it for now. We'll come back to it at the end, later in the meeting.
After item 4.
After item 4. Are you in consensus?
no, there's,
Well, okay. What, so we, oh.
Yeah, can we move item 4 to the next? That'd
All
probably
right.
be good.
So, per our consensus, we're going to do that. So thank you, everybody, for our little parliamentary procedure there.
okay. At the request of the public at the last meeting, I believe, they asked the commission to discuss the community garden concept at Whispering Hills. So at that suggestion, we put it on the agenda. I believe we have some public speakers. And then it's important to remember, as Jim pointed out, that at the Whispering Hills, there's been 3 different concepts proposed: community garden, dog park, and arena soccer. I believe we have the community garden people here tonight. So we'll look and see what their input is.
Okay, I have 2 for the community garden. Apparently, I have 3 for the community garden. First, Jim Gardner. Second, Kenton. And third, C.J. Brower.
Good evening again. My name is Jim Gardner. Jim Gardner. Huh? So obviously I am in favor of a community garden. My wife, it turns out, is not just a gardener, but she's a master gardener. And she would be in, she's on the Lake Forest Garden Club. And she's also in favor, and she would be more than tickled pink to help, and her entire club would be more than tickled pink to help. So, and I think, parenthetically, I think it was fair enough to go ahead and make the assumption that the people at Darren would like a park, and it turns out they don't, so, move on. And whether or not there's a park, a dog park, and a community garden in Whispering Hills, I'm in favor of both of them, anywhere we can put them. Thank you.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. My name is Kenton Betcher, a.k.a. Garden Guy. And I didn't know that the Whispering Hills site had been suggested. I thought we were talking about really the Creek Park. But we had looked at a combination of dog park, community park early on. But primarily each garden park has restrictions as far as animals, because animal waste next to human food consumption was a problem. And so when you sign your agreement, you agree never to bring an animal on site. So, and because of the runoff, and some countries do have real organic fertilizer, but we'd rather not address that. Anyway, I just wanted to bring you update what's been happening. It's been a busy month. Again, funding is always the big thing. We've met with attorneys for the 501c nonprofit and got very good guidance. Also, as with gardening, it's non-competitive, it's very cooperative. People have offered to do pro bono work and get that going. Garden Club has already sent email offering funds. I had indication there was 5 other grant sources. We cannot accept any money until we've actually gone through the process of forming a corporation, and it's a longer process than any of us because we have to get IRS approval. The community garden park, it's a huge spectrum of projects. Some are in churches, some are in back lots, but a true park where people come and enjoy the gardens, they are. And so we're in the educational process. And so we've started putting together a list of all there's 20, well actually there's more than 20 garden parks currently in Orange County. And the one I visited today is the one that you should all start out with, South Laguna Community Garden Park. It's only 6,000, 7,000 square feet. It's 75 parcels. Everybody's got their individual name. There's not a weed in the bunch. It's typical Laguna. It's on $1 million lot, right on PCH at Eagle Way. It's just everything you wanted to see. We've been getting community garden guides. This one is Orange County Community Garden Guide, which is the best. You don't find out till the second page it's Orange County, Florida, but everything still applies other than the legal. And all the questions that we've been answering and trying to field about what do we do with somebody with weeds, they have all the agreements. And if you've ever been in a homeowner association,
That's a new one.
oh, it wasn't my pacemaker.
Wrap it up.
Okay, they're very restrictive. And so we've got that going. We've got our list of 20 that we will have up so people can start visiting. They have a question, what about weeds? Take a look at this garden. There's no weeds. And so once we start showing examples, and in the spirit of giving, these people, they post their as-built drawings. They have their list of all their fundings. They didn't take a penny from the city. They're gathering $1 million to buy a 7,000 square foot parcel. That's a tough one, but I think they'll do it. They all live in $3 million houses anyway. And so we'll start putting up the websites so people, yourselves, the city council, can start saying, here's the example of what we're thinking. And we can start working from that. And we'll continue with the funding sources, getting people lined up, so when we do get to the point where the one thing is we cannot get technical assistance or money until the community garden park is associated with the site, and then and plus our 501k approved by the IRS, and then we can move forward. So during the meantime, education, field trips, the South Laguna one, it's a gym. You'll love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening again. CJ Brower, resident of Lake Forest and fellow civil servant. The Whispering Hills property, I think would be great for either of the proposed uses. I agree with the gentleman right before me that it's probably not a good idea to combine the two, but I do think that that location would fit for either. It's very centralized. It's, not doing anything at the moment. Mr. Gardner actually asked me a question while I was waiting that kind of got me thinking on his question was, should Whispering Hills be something that the Planning Commission has a voice in because it's currently zoned commercial? And so I only speak for myself. I clearly don't speak on behalf of the Planning Commission, but I know that and I believe my fellow commissioners would love the opportunity to work together when you get to that stage. So there's no reason we shouldn't. Other than that, just getting back very briefly to the prior agenda item, I am in favor of a dog park. I didn't say that before, but I'm very much in favor. I recognize the need. And I'm in favor of the garden park, in spite of the fact that when I walk into the garden center at Home Depot, plants wilt on site. I cannot keep plants alive to save my own life. So I won't be taking part, but I do believe we have a need, and that it would be great to see. If it came down to it, I think the parking concerns would still be valid, but I would rather see a community park at the grassy end of Darren than a dog park. Thank you.
Back to the commission for discussion.
Steve, I'm starting with you first.
Jim, because Jim wanted to wait till after this to talk. So there was a reason for that, so I figured we should all hear it.
You want to give it your turn for Jim right now?
Just I just started thinking, okay, put them together, maybe that's not a bad idea, but the gentleman that talked said actually that's probably the last thing that you want to do, so that perhaps throws that idea out the wings. But if you're looking at a specific site, that is a great site. Interesting about the zoning situation. I didn't know how that could ultimately fall into play, but maybe it doesn't. But I appreciate the information. I'm not sure. I think if I was going to look at a site for the garden park, I could see that being a great site. I could see that being a potentially really good site for a dog park as well too, and some other uses. So I appreciate the comment. I want to hear what you had to say and why we waited. So.
All right. More dilemma. Kenton, I can thank you for at least bringing forward some research sources we can look at to get some more information. A question to you with I understand the funding issues to the point that you have to have a live project, in essence, and I know that before some of that funding can be made available. However, I'm not sure I'm in agreement with what I at least understood as your statement informing the 501c3. From experience, that is irrespective of, it's a piece of paper that gives you the right to do things, whether you're going to do them or not. And maybe that's something offline that might be worth a conversation, because it's an indication of interest, it's an indication of a group that wants to do something maybe down the line or whatever, and the only fees involved are the state fees for filing for such a thing. I'm also not sure, but it merits investigation, of the brainstorm of maybe both on the same site. It's a pretty large site. It could be separated. My idea was not to have them, right on top of each other, that the dogs are running in the plants, and the plants are ground cover for the dogs or anything like that, parking in the middle, or again, whatever. But I think both projects bear some serious consideration. And I kind of was somewhat ready, at least on the dog facility, to come here pretty much feet on the ground from a decision-making or recommendation standpoint. I would like, personally, maybe another 30-day period to do some research of could we legally accommodate both, maybe on the one site. And I think that would, if that was possible, and that would be then the Commission's recommendation, we somehow could satisfy both needs and both groups' desires, as well as, again, with the understanding to the folks who live right adjacent to Darren. From another standpoint, if not, I think my fellow commissioners have made some very, very cogent points that I agree with as to the feasibility of Darren as a potential site for a dog park only. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Victor, would you like to put in your 2 cents here?
Well, thank you, Commissioner Jim, to make your comments and suggesting there may be some linkage between the two. However, my initial reaction was to keep them separate, but on the other hand, we certainly owe it to ourselves to do further due diligence. So perhaps there's some merit to step back and take a second look at this. So I'm in agreement that that might be the proper manner at this point in time to do so.
I'm going to go next. Sorry, Jeff, you got to wait. I agree. I think I do want to postpone this for 30 days. I would like to also take into account all this. I'm sure we're going to get the comments there. I also want to look at the suggestion of the nature park. I'm not sure because that would be not in a residential area. It would be a business area. I know we've used that park, though, for facilities. Just think about it. So I'm all for postponing. Okay.
And I think I agree with you, Lord. So it was good that I waited. Whispering Hills is interesting because I think it's an ideal situation for all 3 items that are proposed for it, whether it's the dog park, the garden park, or even the arena soccer. If I put those in order, because I think the community around Whispering Hills is really kind of championing the community garden. I think that's kind of the direction I'm leaning towards. And so I know we're not taking any action except for just getting input. So I guess, Gary, I would have to ask you, what is the next step if we want to recommend moving forward at some point with the community garden in Whispering Hill? What is our next action with that?
Actually, all they're asking for tonight is for they're just giving you an update. Okay. It's in the 5-year plan. It's in the 3rd year. The problem is those 3 things are all listed in there,
right?
All at the same site, at the Whispering Hills site. So I think the point is that they're taking positive steps. They're keeping you informed as to what they're doing, and when the time comes, then you'll be better informed to make a recommendation to City Council. If you're asked, which do you think is the best alternative for that site, that you'll have a better idea of what to recommend.
So we would suggest then to the folks, the garden folks, to go to City Council and
not at this point. It's in their way.
No, I know it is, but I'm just saying to get them to move it forward. So okay,
yeah.
I just want to make sure we're meeting their needs, I guess, is my big concern. And I think. Again, I think we all came in, to be honest with you, that we thought Darren Park was a no-brainer. I thought we'd have a lot more support, and I'm kind of surprised. So I think taking the 30 days to kind of reevaluate and maybe consider some other options. I hate to put it off because I don't like to delay, but at the same time, you folks spoke loud and clear, and so I think that's a fair assessment for us because I don't want to make an off-the-cuff decision, because I really want to take into account what's been said. As far as Whispering Hill goes, Fortunately, I don't have to make that decision, but again, I think that the community garden there would be great. A community garden anywhere, same with the dog park, is so needed for our community. I think they're both great projects, so I certainly am supporting both of them. So that's it.
Okay, so on the, what item was that?
Item.
Number 2. On the off-leash dog park feasibility study, we're going to move on to meeting number 8
Yes.
in 30
we
days.
are.
Take a look at alternatives between now and then. We'll give you a chance to take a look at some of the sites that you mentioned to see how they work out. And we'll bring it back again next month.
All right, thank you.
As far as the community garden, we received their input, and it's more of an update item, and we'll take a look at that when the time comes.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to go back to item 3, correct? Which is our 2012-2013 year-end summary report. And I just want to say to all of you out there, you are more than welcome to stay. But I'm sure you've got other things. All right? This is kind of like our passion to learn more about this stuff. So anyway, thank you again for coming. Really appreciate all your comments and support. Oh, you're very welcome. All right. Yes, and we're going to take a 5-minute break. Is that all right? Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, Loretta.
Alrighty. You're on.
Well, the slides you're looking at, the progression of slides is really for the summer recap, but I thought you might want something to look at while I'm talking about my other two items. Because the pictures are so nice, and we have so
They
many.
are. They're beautiful.
So item number 3 is the 12-13 year end summer report. And at the end of each year, staff goes back and looks not just at the programs, how they went, but we look at the attendance and the revenue for the prior fiscal year. And as been the case in past years, we saw both an increase in program attendance and revenue. For program attendance, we saw an increase of 5%, and for program revenue, we saw an increase of 11%. The 5% increase in attendance, looking back over how we were trying to think of what was the increase, particularly increased attendance in the teen lounge program. Last year they were averaging 68 kids a day. This year we're already averaging about 71 to 72 kids a day. We don't see that number dropping. In the past it's dropped pretty quickly by the second week. Still using community room A in the daytime as well for ping pong, because we had to split them out. Increased attendance in the senior programs and new senior programs. We added a poker walk this year. We added Friday night at the movies this year. We had an increased attendance at the Kids Factory program, a big leap for that Kids Factory program attendance. Additional rentals both at City Hall and at the parks. Last year we added the park rentals for Concourse and Mountain View to our list that you can rent on the weekends. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I won't be on the recording. So that's where we saw our increase for attendance, increase in revenue. Additional weeks of camps were added, both for the school year and holidays. When we started doing our summer camp programs, we started out with 3 weeks of camp. We wanted to see how that would go staffing-wise and supply-wise, because we hadn't branched into those areas quite yet. This last summer, we did all weeks of camp. We had all 10 weeks full of camp. So we're now at the point of we can't add any more weeks, we can only add more participants. Increase in the number of recreation classes offered, and once again, additional rentals both here at City Hall and at the park, so that's where the increase came. The percentage increase in the attendance and revenue were equal to the prior fiscal year of 11-12. So we're seeing that pretty much we're increasing, but we're not doing a big jump again. We anticipate that when we move to the sports park and recreation center, that the attendance numbers will continue to stay with an increased trend. We'll probably see a big jump again. We are pretty much busting at the seams here in regards to use. So for us to do another big increase in attendance, we need to have more space and more rooms. So if you have any questions on this particular report, I'd be very happy to answer this for you now.
Vicki, could you repeat everything you said, because I was watching the slides? No.
We 5% increase in attendance and 11% increase in revenue. Very nice.
2 questions.
Yes.
First of all, obviously, we're doing things that are working.
Yes.
It's nice to hear we're maxed out
Yes.
because of space.
Right.
Or we could do more. But the number for Kids Factory, what happened this last year? Because unless it's a typo, the number has drastically increased.
It's not a typo. That number jumped as the economy started to kind of go down a little bit more. People are really, really using that program.
Okay.
In particular, at Gates Elementary, I know they have like 200 kids at that program. That's amazing. And I mean, it was always one of the biggest sites, but it was never 200 and 250 kids at the program itself.
Yeah.
So we're still seeing that as a program that is very well used, and they are able to keep their ratios where they need to be. Even with 200 kids, they have a very well-run program.
That's great.
That particular site as well.
Obviously, a great program to be able to offer people in
Oh,
the
yeah,
community.
definitely.
And then the other with the revenue, and I keep thinking we, at one time, and I'm sure you guys keep track of those numbers, is there any kind of a percentage of revenue recovery that we still look at, or is that?
Yeah, we do. Gary, within our budget projections, we do have, last year we said, was it 7%?
No, it was more
Cost
than that.
recovery?
10,
I think we're at 11.
So we're doing very well in our cost recovery.
And the place where we really look at is the skate park, and he recovered 30%.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Nick does an amazing job with his, with the fees that he.
We'll probably be bringing some proposals to you in the next month regarding fees in general that we'd like to see raised. We brought this up before, and we'll be bringing it up again related to Kids Factory, the Teen Lounge, and the skate park. Take another look at those fees.
So we're in our department in particular are very fortunate that we not only have seen an increase in revenue, an increase in attendance, but we also are keeping our expenditures to where they need to be. We have not gone over budget. In how many years, Gary? 7 years. So in our budget meetings where other departments are kind of jumping over that line of expenditures, we are at our expenditures or below our expenditures every single year. So staff is doing something correct, and it shows in these numbers, definitely.
Would I be correct if I assume that a lot of these non-senior, of course, programs are staffed to a great extent by our, what are they, recreation coordinators, or those folks are involved?
Where you're seeing the biggest growth is in camps. And those are programs we run ourselves. Those are not run by contractors.
No, I understand that, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's staff-wise. A lot of the other ones are still run by contractors.
Because, again, I honestly, having met over the last few years now a fair number of those folks, I honestly think that may also be part of the reason for increasing
Definitely, yes.
attendance, because they're marvelous.
Right. Especially in
They're
the
really good.
preschool programs. In those programs in particular, those are staff programmed, staff ran, everything is with staff, and they do have their following of people who like Miss Melissa and the people who like Miss Christie, and that in particular, that age group, those numbers, because we don't have, all we have is staff cost and supply cost. We're not paying another contractor. We do very well in those particular programs. And same with the skate park. His camps at the skate park, so his maximum is 10 kids in a camp. So he may be running 3 camps of 10 kids at one time. That's how his numbers are increasing, and those are, once again, where expenditure would be the instructor, the supplies, but the revenue in general goes directly back into our funds. Versus the contract class where you're paying the contractor percentage.
Right.
Yeah.
Kudos to whoever is doing the hiring of those people, because the mold or whatever.
It's a special
It's
type
just
of
great.
person that can do those type of programs. Definitely.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the end of the year report?
First of all, this is great. I guess the only concern is, until the sports park is built, we have the rec center, you're busting at the seam. Do we have kind of a backup plan for housing some of these activities? I hate to cut them back and turn kids away, or
What we end up doing is we do add, for instance, the camps that we have during the summer. Those camps are housed at a park, so we are able to do more, have more kids at the park. We just add more staff. The programs in general for like the seniors, those are the ones who are really tight. Some of our recreation classes, we have now been creative where we've gone to outside businesses to have them have the class at their business. So that's how we're kind of getting around it. I just know that from being here from the 10 years ago, when we were told to fill this building all the time, we are filling the building all the time.
Yeah. One of the other points with the camps is it's all based on transportation. There's so many kids that'll fit in the bus. Once we go beyond that, we have to bring in another bus. It's extremely expensive. So what we've been doing is combining our camps and filling the buses, but that'll always limit our ability to provide camp spaces. It's transportation.
Just make one comment. Just, I think as you look at the comparison year in and year out, and I think the one that jumps out at me most is the fact that we've been able to increase the teen situation and increase it every year and keep it at a level that is, because that's the worst group in the world to try to keep entertained and keep happy. And we're doing something right, and I commend to you guys. That's actually that's the most impressive figure of everything.
And we're combining. Not only are we having more teens, but this year in particular, we've always had 1 or 2 special needs kids in the program. This year we have 7 or 8 special needs kids. So we're doing combination of populations at the same time, which is good for everybody involved. The kids that are not the special needs kids and the kids that are the special needs kids, that they're really mainstreaming them into this type of a program as well. So commending to the staff for being able to work in that arena with all the different types of kids that come here. It's very nice. It's nice. We enjoy hearing the noise upstairs. I don't know about the other departments do, but I like hearing them when they get excited about when they're playing ping pong. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, Vicki, thank you. Excellent, and so nice to see positive numbers and positive things happening, and it's a good feeling. Anyway, Victor, did you have anything?
I think the main thing that the walk away for me is not necessarily the numbers, but it's the quality and the thought that the staff has given to these implementation of programs, because we're always going to be challenged with the growth of the community in terms of what else can we do and to live within our means. I mean, it's a constant balancing act, and I know it's frustrating at times where you have to yes but kind of conversation. But from what I have observed in my short tenure here so far, it's just so impressive to see behind the scenes what's going on.
Thank you.
Just want to add comment to my buddy here, Victor. The quality will bring numbers, and I agree with that.
Oh, definitely.
You know what? I think we are going to split. You guys up next time. These two will be changed next time. How's that?
You have to get over there.
Yeah. Anyway, so, and then, are you giving us our recap?
I'm giving you the recap as well. So, we haven't done this in the past, but I just felt that this summer in particular, we needed to do a recap of our summer activities. And the slideshow you're seeing is only, oh my gosh, 1/8 of the amount of pictures that we take for the summer. Just to give you an idea of, I'm sure you were all at the majority of these, but to see some of the background behind them as well. That summertime is always a really busy time of year for us. This summer in particular, the 10 weeks felt like a week within the offices because we were doing so many things and so many great programs were going on. And we went back and looked at the numbers again. We're great that we have a program that we can glitch these numbers so easily. We had 55,305 people attended community service programs in the summer of 2013. And while a portion of these programs are what we would consider drop-in programs, like the summer concert series, the movies in the park, and the parade and rec and roll, many of these programs required registration. So the registration comes in either online, walk-in, or mail-in registration. And the front desk staff, Carol included, and Jennifer, and we have some of us in the back. I sit there on some days and do registration as well. We processed 1,710 registrations, which generated $142,000, almost $143,000 in revenue. And if you compare that to the spring, we did a little bit more than 1,000 registrations in the spring. So from spring session to summer session, that's how much things jump up. The skate park had an additional amount of revenue that they generated through their merchandise sales, which means their hats, their, you know, all that type of stuff, but also the candy, all the other things that they do. That was additional $24,000. And so for the summer program, we generated the summer months of June, July, and August, $167,000. And if you look just at what our revenue projection is for 2013-14, that's $270,000. So we're, during that summer month time period, that's the majority of time that we not only bring in revenue, but I think that we touch the most amount of people is during that summer portion when we're doing the big movies in the park, we're doing the big concert series, we're doing the camps, and we thrive at that time of year. We love that time of year, but taking a look back thinking, okay, we really like what we do, but we're busy. We're very busy. So I just wanted to bring that little picture of our year so you can see that that part of the time of the year is when we really do generate a very large portion of our revenue and reach a good portion of the population as well. So if you had any questions on that.
The rec class, what was Irish soccer? Is there anything special with that one?
It actually was a group. If I remember this correctly. It's a group that comes over for the summers. It's like an exchange program almost, and it was a camp that we offered. Yeah.
So the Irish soccer players come over here and teach camp.
Teach camp.
Got it. Oh, like the UK guys have done in the past.
Right.
This time it was Ireland's taking a turn.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And then, boy, I missed a lot here. The Polynesian dance, was that a class I missed?
Yes.
We always have our little Polynesian dancer.
Yes. And she's one of our instructors that most instructors, they all have minimums and maximums, but a lot of them, I mean, this is their business, and that is her business as well, but she will teach for one person. So she'll bring her all her stuff, all her shakers, and all her things for one person to teach a class. Yeah, she's great.
Okay, great. And I know the Lego camps, as I recall, in the past, they've always sold out.
Oh, big time Lego, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't all sell out this time, but there were more of them, more offerings
I
of
see.
them.
Okay.
And, we felt like we had a good variety of them. They didn't all sell out, but we had a pretty good turnout for most of them.
Well, that's good. That's encouraging. Yeah, because Legos are always good. All right. Okay, well, that was all I had to ask about was that. Anyone else have any questions?
Are we on the rec report?
Yeah, aren't we on the... Yeah. No, we're not. Oh, wait. We're on the summer review.
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
We're on the recap. Number
Okay.
5. I jumped ahead to number 6.
Okay. Vicki?
All right, Vicki, bring it on.
Item number 6 is the highlights from the August 2013 recreation activities. So August was the last month of our summer activities, and highlights were movies in the park, both at Rimgate and El Toro Park. At El Toro Park in particular, they did a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and they brought the theme along with that. They had Curse of the Black Pearl was the movie, and they had Elizabeth Swann in her very own Pirate Cove. And once again, Ron used his magical artistic techniques to preview some of the things that would be at Heritage Hill. So that is always a fun one for the kids. They had 250, almost 300 people at that one. That Movies in the Park, in particular at El Toro Park, brings a lot of the people from that neighborhood that don't sometimes go to other activities. So they walk across, and it's very well taken by the community in general in that area. And then we also had our last summer concert of the year at Pittsford Park, and from what I was told was one of the best of the series. Neil Diamond was wonderful. If you close your eyes, you thought it was Neil Diamond, from what I was told. Yes. They had 2,000 people in attendance, and the Sha-Na-Na singer Bowser's Rock and Roll Party was really fun also. So I think that was a nice way to end the summer. The other highlights were the end of the summer camp out. And I know for the new commissioners, we've talked about this before. Not saying to go to the end of the summer camp out at the skate park, but Nick does post a video online that you do want to see on the skate park website, because those kids do stay up the majority of the evening. And what they had this year was they brought in one of those big trucks that has the gaming stations in it. So they had kids going in and out of that. They had kids skating. Nick said the highlight of the evening was, for a lot of them also, was the mechanical bull that they had, which the mechanical bull was there from, I think he said about 11 o'clock at night until 4 or 5 in the morning. So that is always a great activity. And this one in particular was very well attended. They brought in $4,000 for that particular event. Lastly, we had the Seniors Happy Trails Western Barbecue Dance, and the seniors always love this. And there was a little problem with our caterer, but overall they had a great time. And during the month of August, the seniors visited Pachanga. They went to an Adobe, and they went to the Sawdust and Arts and Crafts Festival. So it was a very busy end of the summer. And that's my report for the month of August. If you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer those for you.
Well, I was just so excited.
I was right along. I knew where you were going.
I was already on that section. Anyway, anybody have any questions? Comment? No. See, you get a very good.
Great numbers for summer skate park. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They were blessed by not too hot of a summer, so the numbers stayed very high this summer. Yeah, that's always helpful to them.
Right. Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Vicki. Okay, we're on to capital improvement update.
Yes. Sports parks moving right along. Yes. The gymnasium building, the walls are complete. They're pouring the gym floor this next week. Then they'll be raising the trusses in the gym soon. So the building's making good progress. Both the clubhouses are moving along too. So that's going on, as well as all of the underground work for the site. Sewers and utilities are being all pulled in. We're scheduled, there's 270 days left on their construction contract, which takes them to October. So maybe not, a little short of October, August. Yeah. Okay, and also, yes, Tamarisk and Remgate are under construction. You're welcome to go by and take a look. Most of the work at Tamarisk so far has been in grading the fields and then demolition, so we'll start to see the play equipment come in and those things soon. Also want to remind everybody that the Haunt is coming up October 18th and 19th. They were filming commercials at 2 in the morning. This last week, they were out there in the middle of the night for film commercials. Ron got them all out there doing it. So that's going to be a great event, I'm sure. If any of you were at Tuesday night, you know that we adopted a Marine battalion. So that Ron will be in charge of that. So there'll be an adoption ceremony. So he wants, probably in November, we're going to. Yeah, we haven't. I don't know how that. We're going to check and see what the other cities have done and come up with a program. I'm sure Ron, he's working with the volunteer committee to come up with an adoption ceremony, probably in conjunction with the city council meeting. But I don't know exactly what takes place at those. But we'll keep you informed. But it was really nice to see. It was really, really positive. And that pretty much takes care of my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
A quick question. Are we on schedule at the sports park as far as...
We're on schedule for the building. The actual schedule itself was just approved recently. Even though they'd already started, they had a schedule, and they had some problems coordinating. They have... the general contractor is Park West. Park West is a landscape company. Bailey is the building company. So the lead on this project is Park West. so they had problems coordinating their schedules to get them so we could work together. So that was just submitted actually in the last week. So we're working on getting an approved schedule, but it shows 270 days. However, and what I probably got myself to next October is they also include contingency for weather. They included, I think, 3 weeks to a month for unforeseen conditions and weather. But yes, we're on schedule, looking at holding some type of a grand opening event in October that would most likely include the recreation center, the playground, and the artificial fields, because we'd always intended that we could open those first. If the turf fields are ready, great. If they're not, the last thing we want to do is get on those fields before they're ready. And that's the most, I guess, the factor that could move around. The other thing is to consider is the way they're constructing the site is they're moving from Rancho to El Toro. So as they remove dirt, as they dig for footings, as they dig for plants, they're taking all that dirt, depositing it on the end. So they won't be ready to plant the turf on the natural turf fields till the very end, once they've removed all the dirt, because that field, the way they planted it, can float a little bit up, a little bit down. So that will be the very last thing that's planted. So that may be the very last thing that's ready. So you could see the ball fields ready, but not that. But for sure, the things that we'd like to see open in the first, we call the first phase, is those three things. And we've included in the plans, and we always include in the plans, that they would fence the rest of the park off for us and open that. So that's the plan right now. 270 days sounds like a long time, but it's not. So are they on schedule? Yes. Would we like to see it move faster? Yes. But I would say the building is easier to see the progress in, rather than underground utility. You're going to see all that. But what you will see probably in the next month and a half is the poles will go up, the light poles. One of the things they do, one of the first things they do is put out the light poles, because they have to bring in heavy equipment to put them in, so they don't want to run over irrigation lines, all those things. So they'll be putting those in soon, so it'll really start, when people start seeing that, along with the gymnasium, because it's moving right along, they'll see a lot of improvements take place there. So that's where we are right now. No major problems. Seems like we've got a good team out there, and progressing well.
I just first week of October, I wanted to see if I could get out there to site that I know anybody that didn't go that wanted to go. Maybe I'll shoot something out, or we could shoot something out to try to coordinate a.
We're going to go.
Did you give dates?
Well, we are going next Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, this next Wednesday, I believe we're scheduled to go. I think I sent you something back. I'll confirm that.
Don't you have some people that
Yeah.
We have me.
You have you. Jeff said he's a maybe.
No, have Jim go. I'll go if he's going to.
Jim already went.
I'll go again.
Yeah, he'll go again if you're available next Wednesday. You want to check your schedule and let me know.
Okay.
I hate to say who else wants to go.
Who's going?
Me.
You.
That's it?
And what I'd like to do is take the people who haven't been yet first. Yeah.
Of course.
Maybe. You can go.
Jeff said he can't.
You know what? Count me out for next week.
Right.
Yeah.
He says
Just
fine. If not, we'll make the offer of it.
Victor, have you gone?
Yes.
Yeah, Victor.
Yeah.
I was at the first Vanguard.
We'll make more trips. But let me know if you can go this Wednesday. If not, give me a date, and we'll make sure.
Okay.
Well, I'm going for sure.
I go on my own tour, but this way I figured I'd go legally, drive through it once.
Legally.
no more time in advance.
Yeah, no more. This time. There you go. Yeah. All right. Anyway, but all the summer events blow me away because you guys do so much, and I know it's a lot of work, and I know you're busy, and I just want to say thank you. I think I know we all appreciate it. So does the community, and there's just never enough thank you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I love the Neil Diamond guy. I would love for you to get him back as his own concert. And so I am officially proposing that you bring him back and do a full concert with Neil Diamond. And Bowser was also excellent. And I was very impressed that they both were so approachable and were, willing to stay and talk to us and take pictures. I just think that's very nice. So thank you. And that's, and of course the workshops at Village Pond Park have been they've been well attended.
And I'd like to respond just because I think we got what we needed out of that meeting.
Right.
They never gave the architect a chance to make a presentation. That was not our workshop. We got kind of hijacked.
You did.
And so we got the information that we needed. We got clear direction, we feel, and that's why you do it. But the public input process sometimes is a little messy.
Yes. Well, I think what happened is the first workshop, everybody's really excited and they're going to participate, and he said, okay, we need different options, and they gave the different options. And then he went forward, but the first, our first workshop, everybody they did what they were told. The second workshop, they're like, well, wait a minute, but we want this, and it was made very clear.
And the other thing is, I think one of the very positive things that came out of it was on Tuesday night that people approached who had been at the workshop and suggested that they pass some kind of ordinance to ban the duck feed. If we wouldn't have had the workshop, I don't think that would have happened, and that's a very important piece of the whole project. It's not just one thing, and I think that's where people are a little misguided, is that this architect was going to come up with a secret silver bullet, that he was going to design something that was going to solve everything. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a number of steps that have to do with things that he does and things that we do. And so I felt like we got the information we needed out of there, and we'll proceed, and we feel like we're on schedule, and that we'll have a project that they'll like and that will help address those problems as we'd always planned.
All right. Okay, well, thank you for that. All right.
I'll jump in.
Okay, go. I can't get my thing off.
You won't you hit? Yeah, there you go. I want to extend an invitation to the commissioners. We have a special event coming up at the Heritage Hill Historical Park. The adobe that's been there, it's going to be 150 years old this year, and we're going to have a dedicated ceremony which invitations will be going out to city officials and local folks and the county. It's a big deal. And I want to formally extend an invitation to the commissioners on November 17th, that's 2 months from now, at 1 o'clock at the park. I would appreciate your attendance there, if you can make it. I obviously know it's a Sunday. But I'm announcing it way in advance to take away all the reasons why you shouldn't be there, hopefully. But I want you to put it in your calendars, and I want to extend that invitation to you. Essentially, we're going to have a little ceremony. I'll be on the dais, and then we're going to introduce our guests and talk a little bit about the park, and the public's invited. We're going to make it pretty nice, but short and sweet. It's a Sunday afternoon. We struggled with the dates on this, and we felt that after church, or folks in the mornings, maybe they come out and enjoy the winter weather. Hopefully it'll be cool. So again, November 17th at 1 p.m. Okay? And then, of course, the haunt was mentioned, Harvest Day. I mean, this is the busy season for the Amigos, which is the volunteer group that I belong to. So we'll be manning the buildings on the tours and whatnot. So for October. Now, December 7th is a key date because that's Victorian Christmas. Again, please put that on your schedule. I couldn't avoid that, but that's the date for Victorian Christmas, where we have a formal program on the stage. I typically MC that every year, so I want you to come and look at me and, make me feel good. And then on the following weekend, we have the candlelight, which the park is lit up in candles on the 14th. It's 2 days, 14th and 15th. So please bring the family. It's a great family event, and it's a highlight of the years, along with the haunt coming up, of course, in October. And that's my commercial message. Thank you.
I don't have one of those smart ones.
Just, along the lines of the concerts, and I know Commissioner, or what are you, a president? Chairperson? Herron has been advocate of Mr. Diamond for many, many, many years. And I must admit, if you, actually, I don't know where actual Neil Diamond was on recently, but the guy in the concert sounded a heck of a lot better than Neil Diamond himself. So he was much, much better than the real one. So that was that was a lot of fun. But just my only comment actually is in regards to the Taste of Lake Forest event that was at last weekend. That was I had a great time. I was too busy eating. No, we went. And give Mr. Ron a pat on the back too. My goodness, how do you make a raffle so exciting for so long that he did? It was beyond me, but he was pretty amazing. But that was what a great event again that is. I'll tell you, it was hot. It wasn't hot. It was not as hot as the year before, I think, when it was really hot. But it was quite warm, and just staff, everybody was there. Everything, the way it was run was just what a great event, and it was. I think we tried to taste as much as we could, as quick as we could, and about halfway through you're going, oh my God, I'm really full, and you hadn't even got to everything. So we kept going though too. It was a lot of fun, but thank you. That's all I got.
Okay, and I'll try to be quick. Just starting in with the Village Pond. You handled it very well, Gary. I mean, it was. I think people definitely have strong opinions on it, and I think that's good. It's like what we heard tonight. I think it's fantastic for people to come out and speak because, you kind of go one direction. I think the message was very clear, and so it gives us kind of our marching orders and the direction we want to at least start off in and see where it goes. So, just kudos to you because I'm sure you didn't feel appreciated that day, and you should have, but. Because that was a rough crowd. So, but they had some good points and some good questions, and I thought that was great. The marine adoption thing, I was there on Tuesday, and it was such a cool event, and whatever we can do to support them, I would, I think that's great, and so very positive. I think that's mostly it. Again, I can't express enough what Loretta said. Just a great summer. You guys did a fantastic job. I mean, the numbers show it. The people show it. You drive by Reckonwell. There's just tons of. It was just a good job. I mean, and like I said earlier, my concern is we want to make sure you guys are supported and have the capacity for whatever you need. And so if there is a need and if we can do anything, certainly we're happy to support you guys. So because I think it's just a great community that with these kinds of things. So. And I think that was pretty much it for me. So, thanks.
Okay. It's all right. It's like a three-legged race. I'm last. Not a problem. I don't think I can see that far. I'll look at my own. Mine says 8:22. No, just kidding. All right, I'll DD mile on this thing. Concert. Yeah, Steve, you hit it on. I'm trying to remember how many years ago Loretta first brought up. There is this Neil Diamond type singer, and no, not quite that long, but it's 12 at least that I can remember. I hope you agree it was well worth the wait because I am a big Neil Diamond fan. I think he had the voice that Neil had 20-some years ago, but her comment of closing eyes and was Neil Diamond was there. And Bowser, what's the old saying, rock and roll will never die, even if he does. But I think both of them, a great show. There were people, what I really noticed, of literally all ages out there in the dance area. And it's the first kind of concert I can remember where you didn't either have them all a certain, age level. I would totally endorse bringing them back next year, both of them, if we could. I think they put on a great show. The approachability was a definite plus after the concert, that they were willing to stay and kind of be themselves. Great show. Great summer overall with the myriad of activities. And I don't think we sometimes realize how much is really going on. And staff is, again, kudos, thank you. You make it worthwhile to be in Lake Forest. Village Pond Park. The workshop number 2 was very interesting. But like Gary said, some good things came out of it. Direction that the residents want the lake, the pond and the park, and not a bunch of other things. So whether or not he was firing for effect or he was trying to get that out, there was a success to that. But I would like to put forth the suggestion that at the next meeting, which will be here, there at least is a presence of the consultant from PACE again as well, that people realize, because I think one of the things people walked away with was the fact that where is this, and Mr. Gardner mentioned it, where are the water quality issues, the foul issues, et cetera, as long as folks see that there's attention to them, somebody there speaking to them, I think they will be a lot more satisfied.
If I could just comment that I think he was still under the impression that they possibly would consider shrinking the lake.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't have. Yeah. What we're going to ask him to do before the next one is to take a look at the filtration system and give us an idea what can be done with there, what it's going to cost, whose responsibility that is. So, I mean, it narrowed down the issues quite a bit by them saying keep the lake in its present form. And so now we can proceed.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons he wasn't there.
Well, again, and I think that's going to bring up a myriad of other issues, because something like that will probably involve draining it to see what's really out there. Or 20 years ago, an underwater diver or something. And then there's the issue, in my personal opinion, of the relationship between the city and the homeowners, and who is responsible for what, and is the money there for the HOA to do what they really are supposed to. And there'll be some other people, I'm sure, who'll be happy to work that out. Shop and Dine, great. Taste of Lake Forest, great. Ron not only knows how to drag a raffle out in a very positive way, but Ron projected so well that you could hear him as far away as PetSmart, and literally turning off of a town center on Marcus, or whatever the one that goes to theaters, you could already hear him from that point on the PA, and it was great. The only thing with Taste, and I don't know if the participants, and there were more this year, are given some kind of a here's what you kind of need to do, but there were a number of people in the comments just walking through there, even though there was so much to eat, when a third to a half of them were out of food at like 2 o'clock. It was kind of like, I would like to try, wow. Some of them seem to know how to, every year, have enough food there. Some don't. And I just think that would, improve the event. Marine adoption was cool. I don't know if the city can look at adopting units from different services, more than one, because those guys really appreciate that. It's huge for them. They were very quiet and formal, but it means a lot. I would like to, as a closing comment, throw something on the table to my fellow commissioners, and I don't know if we can do this, but we sit here very often and, monthly, and it's kudos to our staff, and our staff who does so much. I don't know if it's a Brown Act violation or whatever, if we all got together with the staff and did something in appreciation. I don't know, a barbecue, it doesn't have to be a huge, kind of a something on a weekend, at a park maybe, like Darren Park. We could inundate it and bring our dogs, and stuff like that, and do something like a barbecue maybe, and kind of as a thank you from us to them. Maybe we can. Well, if you're talking about a party now, then I'll definitely get involved in that. But I just think I would like to personally do something, and I'd like to throw it out to you guys and see if we could come up with something. We're not, by doing that in any way.
You're not going to do anything, I think, is that, am I interpreting that?
We're not violating Brown Act. I mean, it could be a personal type of thing, and just. Hey, then we have meetings in jail, so, but I would like to just kind of throw that out. We can talk about it offline and find a Saturday afternoon or something.
Well, I have a suggestion, and since you
Sure.
brought up such an outstanding recommendation solution, that I think perhaps you might be best qualified to drive the effort.
Okay, I will.
Interfacing with the city and
I'm happy to
put
do
a proposal on the table.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
All right, very good.
All right. Thank you.